Let's check if we're live. Dave, you want to do the honors? Check if we're live, mate. Check if we're
I am
live.
going to check. Where do I check though, Anne? That's the question.
Well, it's funny you say that today because you can check anywhere you like today. Because if you went onto Facebook, and also you might be watching on Instagram today as well, because we're
Evertrack
trying
is now
to.
live, so we're on Facebook Live. But I think
Hey,
the Instagram crowd are not going to be familiar with this because this might be the first live they've watched.
it
So
will be, yeah. It's quite unusual
yeah,
today, isn't it?
so we don't want to set the what I'm worried about, Anne, is we don't want to set the bar too high. you know.
No,
so
no, great. If you have just joined us, do say hello. Do drop your name in the comments. We usually do this every week on Facebook, but if you are watching on Instagram, this is actually being streamed on Instagram as well. So yeah, and if you are on Instagram, we won't be able to see too many of your comments, but we'll try and obviously respond to you as much as we can.
yeah.
Do drop your questions in. Our wonderful Lauren is keeping an eye on the comments over on Instagram. But obviously, we're on Facebook. Might look a little bit different today. I hope. I know it's usually it help if we have the Tuesday Tune In little logo on the left there. But yeah, this is we're trying some new software today, so I'm glad it
Yeah.
works because
I mean,
if you've spent any time with us, it hasn't always gone to plan, Dave, is it?
yeah, straight away, the new comments are coming in at the top of the list, and when I'm used to being them at the bottom. So I am going to be probably only answering. So who was the first one who's now at the bottom? Marky V.
No. I got
Ciao.
it right. Marky V, he said ciao.
Yeah,
Maybe
but normally they
celebrating.
scroll down. Newer ones are at the bottom. Now newer ones are at the top. So I'm going to
Interesting.
be
Yeah, you are
constantly
right.
looking to the bottom. So this whole live isn't going to mean me saying hello to Marky V.
But I hope it is working on Instagram anyway. We spent a bit of time trying to do it because we've got a good community on Instagram. Our wonderful Ali, who kind of looks after Instagram, and I hope this is coming through loud and clear over on Instagram as well as Facebook. But right, Dave, yeah, what's today about, mate? What's on the
Um,
agenda?
so the agenda. So today, what we're going to talk about, because I don't know if you're aware, but we're aware. I don't know if you can see out my window, but it's wet and it's cold.
Oh,
So what we thought we'd talk about, we've done topics on layers before. We've always said Yetis
yeah,
are like onions. Well, actually, we're going to talk about layers, and we're going to talk about the one of the most important layers when it comes to winter trekking and trekking
yeah,
in these remote regions, which is the insulative layer, your outer layer, the layer that keeps you going forward when the
yeah,
weather's trying to push you back. So we're going to be talking about stuff like your waterproofs, your down jackets, and we also probably might touch on other sort of essentials that are always in our backpack when we head out to Nepal, when we go to Tanzania, or even if we just go at Penavan and the weather's not looking too great. Always have the same essentials in our backpack. So we thought, hey, we're going to do the live on that today
yeah.
because you guys need to be prepared because you're going on trip soon.
I know.
So,
People are actually going on trips. It's great. We actually had a trip this weekend, didn't we, Dave? On Tubcal, we had 6 people.
yeah.
Obviously, a team get to the summit of Tubcal, which was awesome. We saw some pictures. I know we had some people tag us on Instagram, which has been awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously on the stories and things, and that was great. If you are on Instagram, actually, just to while we're here, and I hope this works actually now, because if you are on Instagram, don't forget to tag us. And I'm gonna look at this. Look, we've actually got things that come on the screen now. This is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't forget to tag us in your stories. Evertrek UK, give us a little tag. Then we can see what you're up to if you're tagging us, which is fantastic.
I can see Ali's on her phone now, scrambling to see if it's if we're live.
She is. I hope it is. If it's not,
Or
never
texting
mind.
her husband. One of the two things are happening.
No, it's great. But yeah, so today then, guys, is around layers because we realise the temperature's dropping. Winter is coming, isn't it? As Sean Bean would say on Game of Thrones. What would he go? He'd go, winter is coming, would be his kind of maybe accent.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not very good at Yorkshire accent.
Literally, I think there's a few Yorkshiremen on here and that just put their head in their hand.
Sorry if I offended you guys.
I think Paul Dewhurst, he's a Yorkshireman. He's
Oh,
sometimes on
sorry,
here as
Paul.
well. Paul, let us know if that rang true. Did you think someone was in the room calling you?
No way.
Wow.
I know. I could do it the whole live, right? But no, it's winter is coming though, isn't it? And I can certainly feel the winter conditions settling in. I know quite a lot of Evertrekkers were out and about on the weekend, and some at Ben Nevis, Snowdon, Scaffold Pike. Obviously, people doing some good training and getting out there as well, which is fantastic. But yeah, it's certainly some challenging conditions. So we thought, well, let's talk about obviously some of the layers that obviously use on your training weekends, but also when you're on trips, if you're going at certain times of the year when it is cold, because it's vastly, it's hugely important that you've got to have the right gear. It can't be. It's very. I'm trying to find the words now, but you need to have the right gear, otherwise your trip will get affected.
Yeah.
And that could be Summit at Tukal, as we just said, or it could be Everest Base Camp, could be on Kilimanjaro, or it could be on Ben Nevis. You want to make sure you got the right gear. So yeah, that's what we wanted to talk about today. Before I do though, I got a little clip. It's from you, Dave, actually. Now, I think, Dave, you could admit this is the coolest you've ever looked on a video, right? This one?
Yeah, but I do have a funny feeling that it's not an accurate portrayal.
Well, let's see what people think of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to bring it in, and this is Dave. This is actually not far from Everest Base Camp, and it was challenging winter conditions. That's why I wanted to show it to you. And yeah, enjoy the music as well. Hopefully, it's cool. Let's have a little look.
Wow.
Did that work? I didn't see that.
I think the last few seconds, I think you saw the snow moving.
Oh, no way. Okay, well, if that's the case, then I'm hiding in the background, and I am just.
Amazing.
Sorry, Dave. I thought that was.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good demonstration of good kit, because you've got the down jacket there.
Yeah.
If you look closely under the down jacket hood, you can see that I've got my mid layer on, insulative, with the hood up as well. It was snowing and it was high in the Himalaya, so I had the sunglasses on to protect me from the UV. Yeah, there's absolutely loads of stuff there that's going on. Yeah.
Could Dave be any more impressed? Yeah, you're right, Jane. You're right. No, that was I do like a good slow mo, and that was on an acclimatization day. So we were staying in Dingboche, so we were about a day or so from base camp. So we're about 4,500 meters, and big weather came in, lots of snow. We actually walked just because the sort of there was a little bit busy there, so we decided, just instead of going up to normally we go up to Nangatsang Peak, which is on a acclimatization day in Dingboche. But we wanted to mix it up, so we actually walked all the way up to Shukung Village, which is near the base of Island Peak. And that was us coming back. And the weather came in one day, and it was, it was a good job, because even on acclimatization day, you think, I don't need much, because you're not out for long. But it just goes to show that even then, we were probably half hour from our accommodation. You still need your equipment,
I tell you,
especially down jackets.
What's amazing about that exact picture is that I should have thought about this earlier, and I'm going to download and send you quickly. This is happening in real time. What the start of that day looked like.
Go for
so
it.
you can actually see how quickly the the conditions can change in the Himalaya.
Yeah, throw it over, Dave. I can bring it up.
So I believe it's this one. And yeah, this is like just a funny picture that me and Hannah took. And that was the start of that day.
Right.
And then you can see exactly what happened then later on. Look, you got blue skies, it's lovely. And then all of a sudden, like that, it just changed. It was almost like instantaneous. You bend down to tie your shoelaces, look back up again, and it's a completely new world,
Have you pinged that across, by the way?
Just it's in
where is it? It's not coming. Not there yet, Dave. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. So it's the second one. There it is.
The second one. Nice. What I'll do is then I'll try and bring it in. You can tell we got some shiny new shiny new software.
We want to use it. We want to use it, but it's good because I think a lot of the time it's us talking. Now we can bring in lots of pictures which back up our experiences.
So Dave, there's sorry, I feel like I should go by there now. So there's
Yeah.
you. What were you actually doing at that point then? You and
just
Hannah.
getting my meditation on, mate. Just getting my meditation on. If you look, we actually decided it was a little bit of a beach because we had the sand there. But yeah, that's
Very good.
me and Hannah. Yeah, on the start of that acclimatization day, less than an hour outside Dingboche,
Yeah,
and we were just sitting on the rock having a little chill. And you can see, look, blue skies above. It was
yeah,
warm. I had my sleeves rolled up, no down jacket inside, no scarf or neck buff, nothing inside there.
yeah,
But I had it all in the bag because I knew what the conditions could be like. And then you
yeah.
can see what it changed to that, awesome video of me looking like ice cool. Yeah.
Good music too, right? But no, so it does go to show, doesn't it? I mean, it's like in the UK, the weather can change at any moment, and I think it's always important to carry. Obviously you got your down jacket. I know you had there, Dave. You had some fleeces that you can wear,
Yeah.
and that pretty much goes on any trip that we run. You want to have that in your bag.
Yeah.
It's just because I think it's something you say, Dave, isn't it? Is that it's better to have it and then not need it than not need it and have it. Is that right?
Almost.
Yeah, almost.
It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Cool.
Yeah, it works for also condoms and handguns.
Wow. Okay. Wow, we went there.
But yeah, no, it is. Yeah, so literally, so probably the most obvious one that we can perhaps talk about. I just saw Tamarin. That was actually in April, believe it or not.
Yeah,
Late
that
April,
was.
I
Yeah.
believe that one was. Yeah, so just goes to show, middle of springtime, spring weather in the morning,
Yeah.
absolute blizzard in the evening, in the afternoon. But
Yeah.
yeah, perhaps the most important thing, the thing that I had in my backpack on that day was probably my down jacket.
Yeah.
It's the
And
one with
gloves, right? You had those gloves.
and I had those gloves. Yeah,
Yeah.
those gloves are pretty remarkable as well. Like I actually, that was a pretty stylish base camp trip for me. If you remember, I had the bright red gloves.
I do remember that actually. Yeah, and yeah, they were. We could spot you from about through the snow. We could
Yeah.
spot you about 500 yards.
Well, yeah,
Easy.
I've always said like I'm not a gear snob, So what it was, I did order some black gloves, but they didn't
Yeah.
have them, so they said, "Oh, we can send you some Rab ones. They're pretty much the same." And I was like, "Send them over, send them over." And when they arrived, I couldn't quite believe it. But yeah, the most important thing that we had there was probably my down jacket.
Yeah.
I always say that it should never come down to one single piece of kit that keeps you comfortable.
Yeah.
But perhaps that is the most important because as soon as you put it on, you'll instantly start to feel warmer. There's a lot of
Yeah.
technology that goes into them about trapping the warm air in the down and between the outer layer of the shell and your skin.
Yeah.
Quite often, I find them almost too hot to trek in.
Yeah. Me
But on
too.
that,
Me
but
too.
on
I'm
that
never a big
day,
fan.
yeah, but on that day, it was definitely needed. Yeah, and which down jacket I always tend to go for? Well, there's several different types, and isn't there? So you've got the lighter weight ones, which you might see people wearing casually around town.
Yeah, the mid. We call them like the mid, sort of mid strength, if you like. Like if you've got the microlight Alpine, or the Rab microlight Alpine, that's probably a good sort of mid range. I say mid range, mid strength down
Yeah,
jacket. You've got the Patagonia down sweater, which is really, it's weird because they call it a down hoodie.
down hoodie. Yeah,
But they advertise it somewhere as down sweater. And I'm like, it's not a sweater, man. It's got a hood. It's a jacket.
yeah,
But that I'd say would be perfect for Everest Base Camp if you've got something underneath. Then you've got the big ones. You've got 700, 800 fill jackets,
yeah,
fill power jackets that are just, you put them on even with a base layer or a t-shirt and you're going to get warm.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the minute you start walking in them, you're gonna sweat. So it's kind of something that we do see people, especially on Summit Achille, Everest Base Camp, Island Peak, maybe Tubcal in winter. You can't help but hike in your down jacket. It's that cold, and that's okay. But I also think other people, and it depends what works for you, is that some people like to hike in their waterproofs, in their Gore-Tex, if you like. So it's basically a waterproof jacket. You don't have to just wear it when it's raining.
yeah,
I wear it a lot when I'm just general hiking. I got my down jacket in my bag, and I've got a Rab firewall jacket, which is very good. There's plenty of jackets out there like that. You've loads of different makes. You've probably got your Berghaus jackets, you've got your Mountain
yeah,
Hardware. heaps of them. But that's the one we use on our training weekends. And yeah, when it comes to hiking, I just find it's easier because I can wear a base layer underneath, or a decent t-shirt, and then have that on top, and then I know then that's enough. If I get cold, then I can just keep adding the layers.
Yeah.
But that's what works for me. And I know Dave, obviously, when we've been on training weekends and on trips, people like to try, people like to trek in, say, a base layer and a fleece. I've
Yeah.
seen quite a
Most
lot.
most of the time I'll trek like that,
Yeah.
That picture that you saw where we were doing like the meditation, that's
Yeah.
pretty much what I look like 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Just a base layer and a light fleece, and quite often that fleece will come off and I'll trek in the base layer.
Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty sure on that day I would have done that, just trekked in a t-shirt. But the
Yeah,
difference
bring that
is
back up
that,
again. So you're just wearing a t-shirt there and some
that's
sort
a
of
rab mid layer fleece.
nice. Okay.
Yeah, my favorite one. I can't remember the name of it now. It might called the Neutrino or something. But it's got a really good technical hood that comes up that hugs your face, so it really keeps your face and head warm, and it doesn't rattle and make a noise. But that one, yeah, though, that's what I'll trek like pretty much 9 times out of 10. But that picture does illustrate the difference between what I started and what I ended like, and everything I needed was all in the same bag. So the down jacket that I used on that trip, I think, was a Montaigne. But now I've actually got the mountain equipment light line, which I used on Kilimanjaro, and I thought that was amazing. Really good jacket.
I can't I can't stop. I was going to laugh my head off. Ramona talking about that she landed in some poo on Ben Nevis. Oh my god, that sounds hilarious.
It can
But
happen.
Ramona, I hope you managed to clean yourself up and you're doing okay, mate. But wow.
Yeah, it's pretty grim. Pretty grim.
Oh my god. But yeah, great stuff. And yeah, a couple of questions. I think David Cliff, great to see you on the live, mate. Find it difficult to get a Rab Infinity, which has replaced the Endurance. Yeah, that type of jacket. I know Rab, they're always constantly changing and moving. I know over the last sort of 3 or 4 years, they've moved more into the sustainability arena in terms of having more sustainable products, which is awesome. It did mean, though, that some of their jackets, like the Infinity Endurance with hydrophobic down, they discontinued. So yeah, they're releasing new ones, and I think because they're quite popular, they're hard to get. Rab are a great make. There's loads of options out there. I'd say, Dave, the mountain equipment light line would be a good alternative to that jacket. Would you say?
Yeah, it's the one because I had that jacket that we used to recommend, the Rab Infinity Pro Endurance. It's a really good jacket. I loved it. I took it to EBC twice. And I wanted I needed to replace that jacket because it ended up it started a new life on its own in Nepal. So I needed to replace it, and that's when I tried the Montaigne and I tried a few other ones. But actually, I've landed on the mountain equipment light line jacket.
Okay.
And it was funny enough, like all of these things, it comes full circle. I'm recommending it to you, but it was actually an Evertrekker that recommended it to me. When we were on that exact trip with the Montaigne jacket that you just showed, and there was another group of Evertrekkers doing the 3 passes, and he had the Lightline jacket. And for some reason, I never looked at it because I just saw the word Lightline and I assumed it was going to be a lightweight jacket, but it's not. It's actually quite a heavy-duty, high-filled down jacket that I've since used on EBC and Kilimanjaro. And I'll be taking it to Tukal with me, and it's it's a fantastic jacket, and it doesn't break the bank. Some of these down jackets you can pay 600 quid for. There's no need to do that. This one I think cost me about 220. It's a really good jacket. It's really lofty, so you can't wear it casually because you do look like the Michelin man. But lofty means warm, so lofty is warmy.
Well, that's one of the big kind of things you have to weigh up, isn't it? Because these jackets are expensive, and they don't always need to be used in the UK. Wherever you live, because they're not they're so big that they only need it really if it's kind of December or January in terms of like snow or harsh weather. So it's sometimes you've got to weigh that up. Is it worth spending all that money on something I'm hardly going to use? Obviously, if you want your own gear, don't forget you can hire jackets on our trips if you want to. In Nepal, obviously, you get it as part of the trek out there. So if you do want to use ours, you can definitely use those. I know Bri just saying there. What about the Evertrek jackets? We did some Evertrek jackets a lot earlier this year to raise funds for the guides in Nepal. We want to get some more technical jackets created here in the UK, but yeah, it's something that we'll 100% be looking at in the future, because I know we've worked with Cotswold Outdoor in terms of getting something together like that, but it was put on the back burner, for us honest. There's been other things that we've had to focus on, but yeah, it's certainly one of the ideas that I'd love to make a reality, because obviously to have our own jackets, then great, you guys know that these quality, but I hope that us talking about some down jackets anyway, the type of quality that you need is helpful. I mean, I will bring another image, because Dave, I know we were talking about, okay, we're on Kili, what kind of down jackets do you need? And this one, I think, is an image at Karanga camp. There's a few different. Dave, I think you got your eyes closed there.
Of course, mate, of course, yeah, with the bright orange gnome hat. I feel like these pictures are kind of just make me look a bit weird.
Well, you should open your eyes when I'm taking pictures, mate.
Yeah, that was a blink.
At least you got the hand right. That you went halfway there. But just while we're here, then, you can see there we're at I think we're at Karanga camp there, so not too far off 4,000 meters, just over 4,000 meters.
Yeah.
And this is on Kili, pretty cold, as you can see. We've all got our down jackets on. Obviously, we're not trekking at the moment; we're just hanging around camp. So it's good to use your down jacket, around the camp. And there's a few different ones there. I think if you've got, I'm just looking there at James. I know you've got the Patagonia jacket on, haven't you?
I've got the Patagonia. Yeah, James has got that Rab Infinity jacket.
Yeah.
And then I think Tam on the far left. I think that's Rab or Berghaus.
Yeah, that's Rab as well. That's more of a lightweight kind of jacket. But thing is with Tam, he doesn't need much insulation. He's tough as nails.
Yeah, good spot, Nick. Nick said, "Is Dave wearing Adidas sliders?" Yes, mate. I just wanted to live. Yeah, I just wanted to.
That's Dave around camp. He always goes super chilled out, wearing sliders and socks.
Yeah, sliders and socks. Wow. It's a bit cold to not wear the socks, mate. But sliders and socks, I'm a huge fan of. I think a few people. Fee, are you sliders and socks, Fee? No, Fee's looking at me like I'm a maniac. Someone I know is on my team, and I don't know why I assumed Fee was sliders and socks. Maybe it's Rosie. Rosie's just standing up here. Yeah, Rosie's giving me the nod, and Ali. Yeah, Fee, the youngsters have voted with me.
But yeah, so with so you see, it's quite a few different down jackets there. I wanted to kind of show a few different jackets. When you're talking about Rab as well, I think, because I know David asked about the Infinity. There's actually one called the Positron.
Positron, yeah.
Let me just double check. Is it called the Positron? Neutrino. Because you've got the Positron, you've also got the Neutrino Pro.
Hang on, and I'll just have a good think a second. That tapping you can hear is the cogs whirring.
Really? Is that the cogs? Or
yeah, that's the cogs. Yeah, that's the cogs. That is, mate. Nebula. I think it's called the Nebula or the Electron. The Electron is the one that I think replaced that one. Yeah, the Electron.
So essentially, Rab have got all these scientific words for jackets. Any of those are definitely good. But on a serious note, though, if you do want to check out any of the jackets and think, is this good enough? Obviously, you can join us on our training weekends. The next one's going to be next year now, as in the training weekends from myself and Dave, or just drop us a message. Obviously, you can send us a message on here on Facebook or on Instagram, and also drop us a message, info@evertrek.co.uk, or use the obviously website messenger that we've got on there. And yeah, we'll be able to get back to you, just say, yep, that's good, no worries, that's good for that trip. Or if you've got any jackets that you're kind of thinking about now whilst we're on here, post them in the comments and we'll give you some feedback on them, just so we can kind of give you a nudge. But right then, so we talked about down, waterproof. So in terms of weather then, Dave, let's talk about some essentials now.
Yep.
So we've got the down jacket, we've got obviously waterproofs. I think the other essentials, I know we've touched on it earlier, excuse me, would be obviously having some decent gloves, right?
Yep. Some decent gloves. So yeah, and there's the world of gloves, there's different types for different folks. I tend to have a preference. Andy has a preference. Ultimately, if your hands feel warm, they're working for you. I like to have the little Prima Loft gloves. They're like little down jackets for your hands. Andy, I know I've seen you use those skiing ones, like the mittens when it gets really cold.
Yeah.
They're really good as well. But I think it's about looking after your hands all the time as well. Again, it doesn't come down to one pair. I'll always have 2 pairs with me. One of them is going to be the little liner pair that I have.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, those down jackets or the big gloves, they'll be down jackets. Those down gloves are too warm to wear on a daily basis. But you can, like, if your hands start to get a little bit cold and a little bit cold, they can get quite sore and your fingertips hurt. Having those little liner gloves that I tend to wear pretty much most of the time when I'm trekking in the winter conditions takes the nip out of your hands. Yeah, and also, you know, there's those little times when it's really, really cold where you won't notice you're getting like a little bit frost nipped.
Yeah.
And having those gloves just makes a big difference as well. If your hands start to get sore as well, it'll wreck your day. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know,
Well, it could
like,
wreck your trip. So you gotta make sure that you have you know, decent gloves, and like Dave said, you can have the kind of liner, you know, the taking the edge off gloves.
yeah,
You know, if it drops below zero, and then you've got the ones that you said there, and Black Diamond
yeah,
tend to make some really good sort of insulated down gloves. You know, you can get a decent pair for like 40-50 pounds. I use the ones I use for skiing. I got ones, they're called Spider. They're built for skiing really, but I use them on when I'm trekking as well if it's really cold. Although I'm generally okay with my hands, you know, I don't suffer with any issues with it. But I
yeah.
know some people who do. They have some medical conditions where
Reynards, isn't it?
Raynaud's, obviously you can get cold hands. So just make sure that you do have decent gloves, you know, on any of these trips now.
Yeah. Even if you've
That you
got
can.
yeah,
Namaste, Alan. Alan
namaste.
Smith's on here. Great to see you, mate.
Legend. Yeah, hand warmers as well are really, really good. I brought
Yeah.
some on that trip. Again, everything goes back to this one trip in April today, but I bought some on there, but I found them like, man, they were just roasting my hand. So I gave them away to someone else that needed them. But they can make a big difference. Like generally, what I've noticed
Yeah.
people do now, rather than stuffing them down your gloves, which is a bit intense, you just have them in your pocket and you just
Okay.
hold them with your gloves. So I was literally going to use an example then as a COVID tester, but if that's a hand warmer,
Wow.
just have it in your gloves in your pocket like that. It is negative, by the way. And yeah, if I'm sounding a bit croaky, that's why. But yeah, gloves, hats, neck warmers as well, I think are
Yeah.
really important. I always take the advice of my guides, but particularly the most experienced guides. Hang on, I got hair in my eye. Particularly the most experienced guides are really good. So when we trekked with Nima, who has been guiding people to Everest Base Camp for, I don't know, 30 years or more, he's always told me that the one bit of advice that he gives everybody is to keep their chest warm, because the cold air on your chest can really start to affect your breathing. And when you factor in that you're at high altitude and it can be dusty or dry air as well, it can really start to affect your breathing, which obviously is important for acclimatization. So pretty much always have a neck buff on and stuff like that, keeping your chest warm as well. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, wise old Nima. He was on Everest on 96, wasn't he? When with that bad weather took quite a lot of lives on Everest in 96.
Yeah. So
Great guide though.
Yeah, amazing guide. He was he'd be great to like sit down and just get on camera. And I would say, Nima, your first ever sort of trip, start there and take me up to today, because he's got some stories to tell. But he was telling me about, you know, a lot of the climate change that's impacting the Khumbu region, and particularly, you know, I suppose worldwide. But in his experience of the Khumbu, when he first started trekking to base camp and in his early days, the ice fall and the glacier spread almost down as far as Gorekshep.
That's
You know,
crazy, isn't it? Thinking about that.
Yeah, so it was like, you know, my vision of a glacier, you know, which I was programmed to see when I thought of one, is just this lush, pure white landscape of rock and ice. But actually, it looks more like the surface of the moon, where it's actually shrunk and then rock falls have landed on top of it. But yeah, he remembers that. That was amazing.
Yeah, great guy, isn't he? I know we've got our first trips coming up in Nepal actually in November. We're really excited to do that. It's quite a relatively kind of small season for us, because obviously we didn't have much notice, and I know a few people have already moved to next year, but we've got a few people going out there, a few groups I should say, and yeah, just wanted to mention, because we have got obviously some capacity. Now I appreciate that obviously everyone, especially on the live today, might not have availability. But if you do, we've got space all the way from the 6th of November all the way to the end, which I think is the
Yeah.
24th at Base Camp. 3 peaks, 3 passes. We've got space on the Island Peak
Yeah.
trip. If you are interested and you do want to come with us in November, there is space, and we wanted to reach out and let everyone know that if you do want to come in November, just drop us a message, and we can look to get you on there. I know a lot of people have already organised their trips. Like obviously us, we're going to Toopcal in a few weeks, which we're really excited about. We really want to get out to Nepal, but it's quite tight for us in terms of getting out there.
Yeah.
But obviously the team out there, some of them are already in the mountains right now. And they're certainly looking forward to welcoming Evertrackers again. Certainly Nima and the rest of the guides and the team and Anuj. But yeah, it's going to be great, isn't it? As soon as we can get some people out there and we can see people at trekking again. We really missed it. So yeah, we can't wait. But yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there, guys, that if anyone does want to jump on a trip, drop us a message and we'll obviously work to make that happen for you.
Wicked. Yeah, I mean, it's super exciting. I know I've spoken to some hardcore people that are like, tell me when I can go, Dave, and I'll go. So hopefully, that'll give you the opening to get out there. Amazing. And whilst we're on the topic of winter trekking and stuff like that, staying safe in the mountains is not all about the gear you wear. What else will be in your backpack, and what else will you do before you even step foot out the door to ensure that you've got it covered?
Yeah, it's a good point, because we want to look at, and this is probably more for the UK side, I'd say. We always want to, because obviously on the trip, you can lean on your guide, you can lean on the experience, unless you do have a guide in the UK that is responsible for you. Yeah, there's certain things that we do recommend take. Now, in terms of obviously this is just advice from us, but from our experience, in terms of the training we've had, and it's good to have some gear. I mean, we're talking like emergency gear as well as the basics. I mean, for instance, obviously it's good to know where you're going from a navigational point of view, whether you know how to read a map or you use a navigation tool. It's good to know where you're going to go, right? So you want to have a plan for your day. And I always try and share that plan with someone else that's not going with you, if you can. Obviously, if not, no worries. But it's good just to, if anything does happen, it's good to someone to know that you're going to come back. And if you don't come back, you can they can obviously raise the alarm, which has happened in the past. So yeah, it's always good from that point of view. I think also as well, if you're relying on navigational tools that might be on your phone, then obviously you want to keep some extra power for your phone. So if you're using, the OS app, if you're using like Fat Maps, View Ranger, any of those, they're gonna really drink the juice on your mobile. So do take like a battery pack. I know that like us, we always recommend Anchor. They got some really good power banks. Dave, I know over the last kind of 2 years, I know on Kili, you pretty much powered the whole mountain when you brought yours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like most of Tanzania's power output, I believe they sold back to the national grid was from my power banks. But it's because I like to stay connected and I like to have options all the time. The amount like I like going incommunicado as well, which is nice. But the amount, like if so much of the world and so much of what we rely on is powered through Wi-Fi and phone connectivity and being able to stay in contact with people, that it just seems like such an important tool to not have when I'm out on my trips. So if I need to send an emergency message back home, if I need to receive an emergency message, or if I'm out in, if I'm on Penavan on my own and I twist my knee and I need to get Andy to come and pick me up, then I want to be able to contact someone, so it makes a big difference. And I know there are other apps. If you want to zip back through YouTube and look at our one with Brecon Mountain Rescue, they imparted some really good tips and stuff about staying safe on the mountain. One of them was some apps you can use just so you can be geolocated. Like, is it called What 3 Words?
What 3 words? Yeah.
You would have seen the adverts on the telly where they give you 3 random words, which is like something like a 3-meter square patch on the ground. And it will literally be like, telephone giraffe desk, but they'll be able to use that app as well to get your exact location to within a few meters. So
it is good
moving around.
And like reading through the comments there, I think who was it, Ramona? I think, yeah, because I know there was an incident on Ben Nevis. Yeah, once you have your navigation, once you're good with navigation, then you can share, your coordinates if anything does go south. But yeah, and I hope everyone had a great time. I know it was challenging conditions, but I looked on there, but great to see you're all down safe, which is the important thing. But yeah, I think Bryce just jumped in there. What 3 words? Yeah, so you got apps like that that can tell you where you are. So it's good to have those. I mean, there's other things you can get. Obviously, you want to have head torch. I always take with me if I'm going on a trip in the UK. I know it seems a bit nuts, but especially this time of year when the evenings are drawing in. And you're going on a full mountain day, depending on what time you're starting, obviously. But you want to have a head torch.
Yeah.
I remember when I was hiking the Laragru in Cairngorms, and we had a what would have been a normal 10-hour day turned into a 17-hour day.
Yeah.
When we hiked the whole Laragru,
I thought
just
you were
because
gone.
of snowfall.
I was making,
Well,
I was
yeah.
ringing Jen to make plans for Evertrek and everything, because like before, I remember you text me in the morning saying you were setting off, and I got a couple of pictures throughout the day, and then you told me you'd be done by 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And then I was busy, going about my life, and then I noticed it was 7 p.m. Thought I'd give him a call, no answer. Give him a call, no answer. Give him a call,
Yeah.
no answer. And I was like, oh well, I've got some plans to make. And then literally you called me at 9 o'clock in bed with a beer, saying
No,
like,
it's 11:30.
oh, 11:30. Sorry, yeah, wow, it was much later. Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
9. I was still trekking.
Yeah, yeah. But
I only
honestly,
remember because I was looking at the maps last night because I'm going up the Cairngorms next week, and yeah, it was nuts. I think, but again, that comes with okay, we had a plan, didn't go to plan because there was 4 foot of snow in the Lavaguru, which slowed us down, and plus, I was with James, and he admit, he kind of, he was quite slow going up there, so we always want to stay together. And obviously we was 2 of us, so we didn't want to separate, but we had a head torch on us, and I think it goes to, I think if anyone's out there without a guide in a out in the mountains of the UK, it's worth doing some skills training,
yeah,
even if it's map reading, basic, it's just confidence. Like I know that wherever I am, I can get out of a situation. I'm confident in my ability to do that. And having that confidence, then I don't really have any anxiety around it because I know where I am, I know where I'm
yeah,
going, and then you can think clearly then about each decision you need to make. And I think that goes a long way. So just by having some training gives you a bit of confidence. I know we got some winter skills coming up, sort of the end of the year into next year. Highly recommend if you can get on those with Steve up in North Wales. And then we're hoping to do the Scottish one as well, but we want to get the North Wales one sorted first.
yeah,
And again, dates are coming soon, guys. I know, promise you, we are super, super close with that. But just having that basic understanding, it means that when you're out and about, you've got that ability to make confident decisions.
yeah,
That it doesn't, you don't have to rely on other people. Obviously, if you paid a guide and you've got that, you've obviously got expertise to lean on.
yeah,
But yeah, I go back to that situation in Laragru. I was confident they would have been great because I knew where we were going. I knew that we were okay. We had food on us. I
yeah,
also had something which I take on all my trips if I'm on my own or with other people. There's a body bag. Now I've got quite a big one. It's like a 4-person. Basically, what this is, it's like a rescue tent, if you like, but it's really lightweight. And if it really gets crazy, you can just get out the elements for 10
yeah,
minutes if you want to. I mean, if it was proper survival mode, you can get in there. But it just means that you're out of the elements. We go back to insulation. You can put maybe, because if it's crazy weather and you haven't got anywhere to kind of put your jacket on, if you do, it might get wet. Get the body bag out, sit in there, and get changed inside. Just something that yeah, our kind of good friend Steve, showed us up on Mount
yeah,
Snowdon when it was dodgy weather. And Dave, it's great, isn't it? And it's quite cool as
yeah.
well because you're in there
I,
and it's,
we stopped
feel
in there
like
for
you're
a
on
cup of
Everest.
tea, just to get away from
Yeah,
the crowds on Snowdon. But I really do think, yeah, you've made an 2 really good points there as well that I really like. One is that have a head torch, have spare batteries for that head torch, have enough to be able to power yourself for several days, because it makes a big difference. If you've got a head torch on, you can find your way. And the map
yeah,
reading, not like I've been in situations, not like scary situations, but where we've kind of got lost in the mountains.
Yeah.
And because it's daytime and you kind of know you can walk out, you don't know where you're going, but you don't panic. But you can easily understand that if you lost your vision, the mist comes in and you've got a meter or two vision and you don't know where you are and you can't orientate yourself, you can panic so quickly. And as soon as you panic, that's it then. All rational type thoughts go out the window and you just start to worry and, you know, terror and all that. Being able to navigate yourself, even with no visibility, using a map and a compass and orientate yourself makes a huge difference, because a map you can trust. You know, it's like being able to see in 4K. If you can read that map, you know where you're going, and it makes a big difference.
Just want to clarify as well. I think Rebecca thought it said body bag. No, it's called a bothy bag, BOTHY. Like it's named after a bothy, which is up in well, around the UK, but mainly in Scotland. They have these kind of little cabins scattered around the country. Awesome, cool places, you know, just essentially just to kind of hunker down for the night. We got a little fire and stuff. So bothy, not body. I hope the Facebook subtitles, the auto captions, BOTHY. Hopefully it comes up. Body bags. That's a different life. That's a different life.
That's a different life. That's what to do when the worst happens.
Yes.
So you need a shovel, a bag of lime, and a body bag. Mate, I've seen enough Sopranos to know what to do. Don't you worry.
So also as well, something, and I know we've got some questions I want to cover, guys. I know we've got about 20 minutes left, but just to cover off as well is when it comes to weather. So I know a couple of questions have sprouted up over on the Evertrekkers Facebook group, which is great, around what apps you use and things like that. The one I've always used, especially over the last 3 years, is Mountain Weather UK. So if you go to the App Store on Apple or Android, it's MW UK. Now, a lot of other apps which actually give weather run off the back of this. And it's one all the mountain guides use. And it's great because you can hone in on specific mountain areas, and you get the wind forecast and precipitation level and cloud cover and visibility, all the stuff you kind of want to know before you're out there. I just wanted to kind of finish off that part in terms of, you know, what you have on you, as well as obviously the preparation, you know, weather as well. Hopefully that is useful for you. But Dave, I reckon we should tackle some questions. I know we got a lot in.
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
Right, first one I think was emailed in from Danny Cheese.
Hey Danny, how's it going?
Good day to you. He's booked for Killy in March. Currently looking for the right travel insurance for the trip. Seems to be a bit of a minefield. Let's have a look. What are our recommendations, and what should we realistically be paying for the insurance? The price you've seen so far seems to fluctuate from £75 all the way to £400. Okay, so £75 I would almost certainly say is something to avoid. I've never seen a Killy or Everest Base Camp policy that's £75 that covers what you need. Essentially, you need two things. You need helicopter evacuation insurance to be covered up to 6,000 meters, which would be your maximum altitude. Sorry.
Jeez, Dave.
I lost my.
Still alive?
No, it's. There's water. Thank God. It's week old, but it's still good. Yeah. And so what was I saying? So you need the helicopter evacuation insurance, and also it covers you for a lot of other things as well, like medical conditions and things like that. So you need to have one that covers you for any specific medical conditions you have. I recommend the two companies that I've used personally, which are a company called True Traveler, which I've used both for Everest Base Camp and Kilimanjaro. Lauren, I think, can post a insurance article which you can pick up in these comments, which is really helpful. And it's got
like magic, she's already posted it.
Exactly, so it's got lots of walkthroughs and stuff like that. The other one is Campbell Irvin. On average, I pay around 200 to 220 for my policies. It depends on your age and what health conditions you have. So if you're 60, you can expect to pay a lot more, and stuff like that. But about 200, I think it was for Kilimanjaro, 220, something like that.
It's a good question. I mean, True Traveler will have you sorted. One thing we have got actually in a couple of weeks, I think it's on the 2nd of November. We've actually got someone from True Traveler we're going to bring onto the live. Any kind of technical insurance questions we thought were really useful. We reached out to the guys at True Traveler, and we thought we'll get them on, because it's always good to hear straight from the horse's mouth, isn't it? You know, and obviously we've used True Traveller over the last kind of half a dozen years, and in terms of trekking at high altitude, and I've used True Traveller for majority of my trips. I've
Yeah.
used some others like Big Cat as well. You know, just change up a bit. Never claimed with any of these companies though. I know a
No.
lot of you know, because it's very rare that claims have to be made. But the companies we have used, obviously these are the ones that have done well. So yeah, certainly when it comes to insurance specifics, do save some of them for that live, because that'd be great, wouldn't it? Just to throw out I forgot the gentleman's name now, the one from True Traveller, yeah, to come onto the live, and I'm sure they'll have some sort of offer or discount. They'll probably be coming on as well. So yeah, do might be worth waiting a couple of weeks before booking any insurance for next year. Obviously, if you're going on any trips relatively soon, then you know you can get your insurance.
Yeah.
Hopefully a little bit of discount. I mean, you're talking to with insurance with me. I've done it literally as I'm flying from the airport. And I wouldn't say that's the way to do it, because anything can happen. But you know that you've got time if you're going on a trip in the autumn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but good question around insurance. I think Ramona asked actually around TubeCal. Big Cat. Yeah, so you use Big Cat. Great. I think, yeah, with TubeCal, you just want to make sure that you've got at least about 4,200 meters, that there's cover up to that, just in case anything happens.
Yeah.
Again, I see Tina there's put in Campbell Irvin, another one we recommend. On that, what insurance you need for Everest Base Camp Trek? I know that just says Everest Base Camp Trek, but any of those companies do the any altitude insurance.
Yeah.
So definitely go via those links. I've done a couple of walkthrough videos. They are probably over about a year, 18 months old. If those websites have changed, some of those videos might be different, but it's very useful anyway. I hope.
Yeah.
Definitely give that a shout. But good question. Great stuff. Ramona sorted that. Right, Danny. Then we got Lee. When trekking, I run hot all the time. I also sweat. Not the only one, mate. This makes me feel very uncomfortable as the temperature drops. What is the best base layer to counter this problem? Any tips about wearing the right material? Never wear cotton. Yeah, it's a good question, Lee. I think you've already almost answered your own question there, mate. But yeah, so don't wear cotton. I know sometimes you know you'll see people wear cotton, and that's fine. But yeah, certainly cotton is one that can get quite wet quite easily, and then like, as you said, then when you stop, you can get cold. But you know things, base layers, Dave. I know merino wool, icebreakers, right? They're really good. They're not going to retain moisture.
Yeah, Lee, I have the exact same problem. So Andy will tell you, like, if I've got to do any type of physical activity, I usually end up drenched. It's just the way we are, you know. I think so. A couple of tips that I use to manage that: one, I try and stay cool as often as I can. So I always have two base layers with me on any trip, like for any day. I don't just wear one and that's the one I got to wear all day. I always have a spare in my bag, and I'll generally have one of two types. So like a cool one. I always have the zip down here as well, specifically so I can pull it down and try and stay cool. Merino wool I found is really, really good because it just removes it all off the surface of your skin and allows it to wick really well. But some days there's no way around it. If it's a hard day, I can give you an example. So usually Tengboche on the way there, it's a really hard climb. It's quite high altitude when you get to Tengboche, but it's really warm. So that day I usually roast and then immediately get cold when I arrive. So what I'll do is I'll have a spare and I will literally just find a rock or whatever and just whip out and change it quickly and put a dry one on as soon as I start to get cold, just to look after the chest. So yeah, don't just think about one, bring a spare in your back, a dry one, and wear things like merino wool or anything that's really, really high wicking material. It's really good. And spend the money on it as well. You know, don't go budget on base layers if you need it to work that well like I do. Save the money on some other part of, you know, buy a cheap baseball cap or something and buy an expensive base layer. Anything next to the skin or on your feet, I spend money on.
Yeah, nice, Dave. Yeah, some good points there. I think there's a few comments coming in as well around obviously Ramona, no stink merino wool base layer, and Shona as well as mentioned. Yeah, I know people have talked about bamboo base layers. I think you're right, mate. Yeah, they're not the best from a temperature point of view. I know the icebreakers are awesome. I've got a couple of icebreakers myself. And yeah, I'm a huge merino wool fan. I think there's a lot of different makes out there that offer it. I think you know, it is like a Ronseal. You know, it does exactly what it says on the tin. You know, in terms of, you know, it works. Merino wool It's great, insulates you, doesn't retain moisture, and it smells all right. So
Yeah.
even a multi-day trek, using it for several days, you're not gonna, people aren't gonna be avoiding you on the trails because of the smell. They might do because everyone smells on a trek. But wait a minute, why is Dave not wearing his baseball cap? Yeah, I thought the same, but Dave really wanted to rock the Disney Prince today.
I'll be honest. Yeah, I sort of I'm almost like I may as well have just come in my pajamas today. But technically I'm on my holidays, so I've just rolled in a very casual manner today, and left the cap at home. It's nice to let the hair breathe,
Mate, you're looking good. Yeah, you could easily be on Aladdin or Beauty and the Beast. Yeah,
Beauty and the Beast,
Disney Prince,
Disney Prince coming back. Yeah, Disney Prince. But the hair's growing out again. It's growing again slowly.
Ian Pickles, afternoon, gents. 28 days to go. Can't wait, Ian. I can't wait to have you, mate. Can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be great to get back there. Chris has asked, do you know anything for Kendall Mountain Festival? No, we're not there this year. We were thinking about it because we were at Keswick quite recently. We'd love to kind of be at obviously other festivals, but yeah, we didn't think Kendall was right for us this year. But maybe next year we'll see about running some other stuff. But yeah, so not Kendall, mate. But as a punter though, I know it's very big, isn't it? On the more around the visuals, isn't it? There's a lot of films about outdoor films. Some really cool. Sorry, just read Marky V's. Have you seen the temperature in Marrakesh? Looks like Speedos on Tubcal the next 2 weeks. Yes, it's looking rather warm at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, the winter conditions I think are going to be coming in the January, I think, by the looks of it.
Late, yeah.
I just so well we're chatting to Ian. I noticed he has a question.
Okay, yeah.
Just doing my final pack. I've got 3 pairs of merino base leggings. Is that too many? Ooh. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
1 pair will do you fine. I've been many times and not used them at all. But yeah, you only need 1 pair, man. Like 3 pairs. Get rid of 2 pairs and put something else more important in, like Haribo or something. But yeah, you don't need the 3 pairs of leggings. No, just the 1.
Yeah. Good point. Let's have a little look. So Speedos on Tubcal. Yeah. Mark, I want to see those Speedos, mate, on the summit, right?
I don't.
Dave doesn't. Fleeces. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, so Helen's asked about fleeces. Obviously lots of different prices out there. Look at the materials, nearly all 100% polyester. Any advice, Dave? Excuse me.
Who asked that question? Sorry.
That was Helen. Helen Barker.
Okay, nice. I'm just having a look.
Hey Helen, how's it going?
Yeah,
still on the live. I know this question came in a little bit earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just trying to find it. So fleeces are all different. Looking at materials, nearly all 100% polyester. To be honest with you, I'm never really 100% certain what my fleeces are actually made of. I tend to buy them based on just what I need them to actually do. So I'm not entirely sure what my Rab one is, but certainly I don't think it's 100% polyester. I think it's going to be a little bit of a mix. But generally speaking, what I'll look to do is I'll buy the technical fleeces because I do like the hood. So I usually buy a fleece with a hood because it makes a big difference. I like a technical hood so it fits your head. It's just much nicer to be able to trek in it, and it keeps you warmer. I generally don't get big, heavy fleeces because if you've base layered up and mid layered and outer layered, you don't really need a massive heavy one on any of these trips that we're doing. So yeah, I pretty much recommend the brands is how I kind of choose. So sticking with Rab, North Face, Berghaus, Mountain Equipment, those type of brands tend to do really, really good stuff. If you want to check out Rab, they're really good now, and they're going down a very ethical route in making their stuff. Also, Patagonia, very ethical. Columbia, I believe, do a lot of stuff, which is the materials are
synthetic,
again,
isn't it?
Mainly synthetic. But yeah, they're trying to move away from all of those microplastics because one thing I know I've kind of jumped onto something, but it's how I choose my fleeces is not only by what they need and stuff like that, but I also try and factor in which companies are doing that, bringing out the new technologies and stuff like that. But generally speaking, Rab is what I go with because they do the same fleece pretty much. They changed the name, but it's pretty much the same one. Do you know what? I think I've mentioned this fleece on about 4 or 5 different lives now, and I don't know the name of it, so I'm going to find it.
Is this the Rab one?
Yeah.
It's not the Rab Al pull-on, is it?
No, because it's got the full zip.
It's got. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Have a look for that, Dave. Whilst you're looking for that, I'll go through because we've got some some other questions. John from Brecon. Are the limited edition ever trek jackets suitable for altitude treks? Yes, they. John from Brecon. Yeah, they are. So with these, they're the jackets that we did. I can't remember where they are now. Beginning of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
End of last year, beginning of this year. Yes, they are fine for altitude. Obviously, that's why we wanted to kind of offer them out. Now they're not obviously because of the price range. You know, they're not going to be as good as a £300 technical jacket. You might need because they're about 700 fill, but in terms of their technical capabilities, if it really comes down to it, Dave's talking about fleeces here. You want to have a fleece under it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the one that I'd put on over a t-shirt going up to the Summit Achilles. Put it that way.
Yeah.
You can wear it on top of other things on the Summit Achilles, but it's just something to be aware of. Obviously, it's great. Autumn, spring, winter in the UK. I think I saw Ramona wearing one in the rain. Believe it or not, although they're not waterproof. They're classed as water repellent, but with any down jacket, they all get wet.
Yeah.
I don't care what the rating says, they all get wet.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. It's the Rab Nexus fleece.
Nice.
I also go for the one that's got the full body zip. You can get the pull on, which zips down to the middle and you pull it over. The reason I like the full zip again is to try and stay cool, open it wide up and do it up. I just spotted one from Lee Davey. D sweats like me also. It's a burden, mate. It's a burden. What's the best product to stop chafing? Do you know what? I've been quite lucky in that it doesn't happen to me that often. However, talc or some type of talc like that I tend to use. I know it's not great for the environment, and if there's a great alternative, I'm all ears. But yeah, putting some of that in the old undercrackers sometimes helps. But also, one of the best things that I found is it's called chamois cream, and cyclists use it. And you put it directly on the skin. And basically it just reduces the heat from chafing, so stops problems like that. It is kind of minging, and it's like Vaseline. You see people talk about Vaseline. I don't think Vaseline is that great, but this chamois stuff is really good, and you just rub it onto your skin and leave it there, and yeah, it's really, really good. But yeah, worst case scenario, talc or Vaseline.
I know I've used Vaseline when chafing before. I think it was Brian actually gave me Vaseline. Brian carries Vaseline around. He does run a lot of marathons. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I wonder where that was going.
No. We're good friends, me and Brian, but not that close.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's obviously there's underwear out there as well that you can get that is kind of anti-chafe. Yeah. Obviously, you've got the bamboo ones. Again, you've got merino wool.
I think it's called On One, but also buy the longer stuff. Don't just wear normal boxers. I tend to try and maybe put cycling shorts on, but there's some specific anti-chafe ones that go kind of halfway down the thigh. They're really, really good stuff.
I'm not going to read Joel's comment, but I think if you're in the comments, you could probably read Joel's comment.
Yeah.
I using about Vaseline in certain parts of the body. Yeah, go for it if that helps.
Yep. Awesome.
Great stuff. Well, look, we got. Oh wow, we've flown by today, isn't it? It's been great.
I know this one's been a beast. I did spot one from about power banks.
Okay.
Rebecca, how's it going, Rebecca? Yeah, how many do I carry? To be honest, as a regular trekker, I'd probably take 2. One is a minimum, but I take 2. When I went to Killy, I think I had 4 or 5. But like I said, I was powering the mountain, and they are quite heavy. They're probably like 1 kilo each, so you do have to sacrifice some space, and you have to carry them on your body on flights and stuff, or in your hand luggage. But yeah, it depends. If you want to stay ultra connected, then 2, or you could just bring 1. But yeah, if you do an EBC, 2's fine.
Nice.
We've been doing this so long, my ears are sore.
Really? Wow, good. Laurie Moody. Hi guys, I've got the Rab Microlight Alpine. Just wondering if it'd be okay for EBC in late October. Yeah, it's you'll see a lot of the Rab Microlight is very popular. The Microlight Alpine. I think that's one with the hood, isn't it? Yeah, very popular. And I know I've been trekking with people who use it. I'd say it would fall into the kind of mid-strength down jackets, just to be honest. So if it's good. If it gets really cold, you'll probably have to put a fleece underneath.
Yeah.
In between that and your base layer. it will get cold. You know, there are bigger down jackets out there, or better. I say better, just you know, if it gets like -10 with the wind, you know, you'll certainly feel it through that jacket. You know, it'll be fine, but yeah, it's certainly it's a great jacket. I know, like a good friend of mine, Tom, he used it on Everest Base Camp. The same trip we were talking about earlier, April 2019, he used the microlight. I know loads of Evertrekkers do, because it's quite a versatile jacket. You can wear it in the spring, you can wear it in the autumn. You know, so it's a good jacket to have, but you just need that extra insulation. Otherwise, you know, if you want one that you can just pull in over a t-shirt, then yeah, maybe think about something a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
But right, Dave, I think we're coming to the end now, because yeah, it's been great. I hope that's been useful for everyone. If you've enjoyed it, Dave, any final thoughts on insulation, mate? Layers.
Yeah, I think stay cool, stay warm, stay classy.
Great stuff. I'll leave it there.
Yep.
As we, what I'll do is though, on the out, I'll leave this one more time before we end, and yeah, we'll see you all next Tuesday.
Yep. See you later. Bye.